We're back for another great ride today. We got a fun comparison, Kove 800X Rally versus a KTM 890 Adventure R. We're gonna go about 15 miles of road riding up the canyon from Lyons, Colorado, and join kind of our, we'll call it our testing grounds of Johnny Park.
Yep.
Where we kind of bring the bikes. It's a good mix of on-road, off-road, technical sections, mellow dirt roads, and we're gonna see how these bikes compare.
Should be fun.
All right, we spent several hours riding these two bikes, comparing them back and forth. Kove 800X Rally and the KTM 890 Adventure R.
This is our Kove 800 Rally.
Yeah, our Kove 800X Rally. We've got 1,200 miles on it now. And we really wanted to find an 890R to be able to compare it to. Right? A very, very popular adventure bike with some good off-road capabilities.
Absolutely.
And so we were trying to find one, and we reached out to Colorado Motorcycle Adventures, and they're in Colorado here, and they rent adventure bikes. And they sponsored this video for us, gave us this 890R to ride and review for the day.
Much appreciated. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. And they do all sorts of cool things. They have a huge lineup of adventure bikes you can rent. They do guided routes. You'll do Utah BDR, Colorado BDR, I think up into Wyoming that you can go on a guided route with somebody, rent a bike or bring your own bike.
They're in Moab right now doing a BDR in Moab.
Yep, so they're currently in Moab. So they do all sorts of cool stuff. So look into them and see if you can find something you need from them.
Exactly.
So our thoughts on these two bikes after riding them?
You put a lot of time on both of these. I mean, your riding ability is so incredible, buddy. I'm more of a average rider as far as e-bikes go. Let's give your opinion first, and back and forth. Let's talk about the 890R. Talk about the suspension first. Compare the suspension versus the Kove Rally suspension.
Okay, yeah. So I've been really excited to ride this bike. Seen so many people on them, obviously. Chris Birch, phenomenal riders, just doing crazy things on this bike. So suspension-wise, well, one thing to note, this bike does have 15,000 miles.
A lot of miles. It's a 2024.
2024, 15,000 miles versus our Kove has 1,200 miles. The suspension, my initial reaction was, man, this is harsh over the little bumps. Just kind of like think of a washboardy road with little rocks in it. It just kind of bounced my way along those and kind of skipped and slid across. So initially I checked the tire pressure, and it was at 28 pounds, both front and rear. I lowered it down to 20 just because it felt so harsh off of every little rough bump. So that helped a little bit. I also checked all the compression clickers on all of it, and they were all set right in the middle, both for the rear shock and the front. So I left it alone. I just wanted to get an idea of where it was set, and because it initially felt so harsh. So I kept riding it, and the travel is good. It has a good amount of travel. It handles some jumps and picking up the front wheel, letting it come down kind of hard. It handles that really well. What I don't like is just how harsh it is over the little stuff. Like in your hands, it just was like wearing out my hands. It just didn't feel composed over the little small chatter. It wanted to slide one way or the other, and rear end would slide out, not on the gas or anything, just because it's bouncing across it and not soaking through those bumps.
There was a spot right down the trail here or coming up here. You made a comment in our microphone. You go, whoa. I mean, you kind of felt something happen there.
Yeah, it was just a rock that was kind of embedded in the ground.
It wasn't loose.
Wasn't loose, and I hit it off the front tire, and it just kind of skidded me off, which just I didn't see it coming, you know. And a lot of times, you know, I can see those rocks, you know, good amount of experience with that, and it just caught me off guard. So suspension it's okay. I was expecting better. And my thoughts is, I don't know if that comes from a little bit of having 15,000 miles, and maybe it needs a little refresh on the suspension. But this bike, the way we're riding it today, it's kind of rough. It's kind of harsh. I hopped on the Kove, And immediately, just sitting down, starting out over those same little bumps, it felt nice and plush. The tires wanted to stay connected to the ground.
Yeah, it stays planted.
It stays planted in a good way. So I didn't feel like I was skidding around, and it didn't shoot me off those little rocks. Same with the travel and handling the jumps. It handles really nice. The suspension, I'm way more impressed by this Kove suspension. It handles everything quite a bit better than this 890R for the off-road segment here.
When we were filming over there, you'll have some clips. You were doing a jump off a washboard on this, and then when I filmed this, you came over it 2 to 3 times faster.
Yep.
I could not believe how fast and how far you cleared that little jump on this thing. I was like, whoa, he's really feeling comfortable on how this handles.
Yeah, I was just way more confident in the suspension and how it's going to handle versus the 890.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a bit more time on that than the 890.
But you're such a good rider.
I get a feel for these bikes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I just know, I just have a lot more confidence that suspension is going to take it and not throw me around.
Let's talk about power. Power on the 2. You've talked about you like the settings and the traction control, the power settings on this. You don't have that on the Kove, but talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the ride modes in the 890 are really nice. I think we have rain, street, off-road, and rally. I initially started in rally mode because I kind of wanted everything unlocked and full power, and it has a lot of power off that bottom end. I bumped it back down to the off-road mode for the throttle sensitivity, and it made it a lot more linear from the bottom up to the top and not so jumpy on the bottom end, which I really liked. So I really like off-road mode for what we are doing today with this kind of loose gravel on top of hard packed. It doesn't want to slide around as much. Also really like the, I think they call it the MTC, where I can adjust the traction control settings. So I can have it all the way off and have 0 traction control, or I can set it, 1 through 10 in the middle, where it'll let me have some wheel spin, but not all of it. And I just really like that because I can still have wheel spin if I get full power, but it's not just going to swing the rear end out real quick.
What mode were you in, do you know, that you liked?
I changed it, I think, quite a bit. I was between 5 and 7 for these
conditions here.
These conditions here is kind of what I ended up liking.
Okay.
Versus the Kove doesn't have any of that technology. It has sport mode or eco mode, and then ABS on or off.
Yep.
And traction control off.
Yep.
So we just leave traction control off, ABS off, sport mode, and yeah, it just doesn't have any of that technology, which I wish it did.
Yeah.
That's some things that I do like out of this 890. It allows me to adjust kind of the power per se for the conditions that I'm on. Versus this is like, I'm going to get all the power all the time.
Unless you're in eco mode, it tones it down a little bit.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, it does a little bit, the throttle response. Maybe
yeah, so
not a lot.
Another thing we can talk about is the throttle sensitivity, kind of with that power. The Kove has a little bit of a twitchy throttle on the very initial, initial engagement, just a little twitchy. Now, it doesn't make me feel like I'm out of control in any fashion, but going over something real slow, it can be kind of a little jumpy. And then once you get through it, it just kind of pulls smoothly through the top with good power. The 890 doesn't have that twitchy throttle at all on the bottom, even in rally mode. But I've been riding in off-road mode because I like that better. Doesn't have a twitchy throttle, but when you start rolling on, it pulls with more torque and you feel more power quicker on the 890 versus the Kove. With the Kove, again, it's a little twitchier, but once you get through that twitchiness, it's more mellow building up.
Yeah.
So you can feel that power difference in how it's delivered with the torque as well, with the 890 having decent bit more power and torque than the Kove. Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing, just how they feel.
Let's talk a little bit about handling, nimbleness between the two bikes, and kind of what your feelings are as far as, we haven't weighed these yet, we're going to weigh them, but I'm assuming they're probably 60 pounds difference. This could be 60 pounds lighter than that one. How did it feel? I mean, this has the gas slung low, this is kind of mid in the gas, but how'd they feel?
To be honest, without knowing the weights, I have no idea what the weight difference is between these. I'd be curious to find out. It doesn't, the 890 does not feel 60 pounds heavier to me.
Okay.
Getting on and off of it, it might feel heavier.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get down with this low slung tank I mentioned kind of in my riding portion. I'm afraid of hitting this wide tank.
Yeah.
On
this is really narrow.
Anything that sticks out. So it makes it feel a little wider and bigger when I'm going through sections because it's in my mind of it is wider. But maneuverability wise, it feels heavier. I can throw the Kove 8 around easier.
Okay.
I can feel the weight difference. It's lighter feeling. But I wouldn't say this feels like really big, really heavy where I'm timid around corners. For its size, and I know that's heavier. I don't know how much heavier.
Okay.
It feels pretty good. I did a portion of single track.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the single track because you're able to compare the two bikes.
Yep.
And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, single track. I was concerned about the width of the 890. I did just tap a little tree branch or something on this tank guard because of the width versus when I rode the Kove through, I wasn't worried about that and I could just follow that little single track course at a much faster pace.
I was going to say.
Feeling more confident.
On the Kove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel not confident or this didn't belong where it was.
Okay.
Well, neither of these bikes probably belong on single track, to be honest. But
True.
I felt okay on this 890, even though it's a little bit bigger, a little heavier.
Caleb, coming up the canyon and doing the twisties, tell us your opinion. What did you think how this bike handled in the canyon, the twisties? Compare the two.
Yeah, so kind of on-road capabilities of them. We did 15 miles up the canyon, and I rode the 890 for the entirety of that. I've ridden the Kove quite a bit on the road.
Same canyon many times.
On the same canyon, same section. The 890 does not have a tall windscreen at all. So I had absolutely zero wind protection. My head was completely up in the wind.
A little chilly. It was like 39, 40 degrees.
39, 40 degrees, so we were cold. Again, 890 doesn't come with heated grips. They're options. That'd be nice. Heated seat would be nice. You know, things that you can add on the 890, which is a little harder to add on a Kove.
Yeah.
Comparatively. But it handled nice on the road.
Yeah.
It was comfortable. The seating position was comfortable. And the power is just fun as well. Yeah. You know, it has great power. You can get up to speed quick and very nice on-road characteristics. We put this little higher windscreen on the Kove. So, you know, this one, the KTM is a stock. We did a little higher one, a little higher helps, which you could do the KTM, which I think would be...
It does a good job deflecting some of that wind.
Yeah, would be a good upgrade if you do a little more on-road.
Yeah.
The Kove feels good on the road as well. I would say the KTM feels smoother.
A little more designed, I think, a little more designed for the road. And
it's designed to have
better.
A little bit more of a happy medium.
Yeah.
Versus the Kove is definitely a focus on off-road.
Yeah.
So like something we had to do on the Kove was the wheel weights. When we got this from the brand new, above like 60 miles an hour, it just hopped and vibrated and you couldn't go any faster than that on the road.
Yeah.
So we had to do the wheel weights to balance them out versus, you know, KTM isn't a balanced setup.
I know we made a comment a little earlier. You were super excited to look at this, ride this motorcycle.
Yep.
Didn't know if one might be in our future down the road or not. After really riding these two and comparing the two, your final thoughts and that comment you made a little while ago. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so really excited to ride this 890 and really glad that we had the opportunity to.
Yeah.
Unless they change something with a redesign, maybe 2026 or 2027, where they change it up, I don't think there's an 890 in my future. Definitely big fan of the Kove here.
Yeah.
And it comes down to just that confidence in the suspension. It feels a little lighter, it's narrower, and the off-road capability of it. I really like the off-road capability.
Yeah, I would agree. I haven't ridden these bikes that much. I did ride this some. And you mentioned a few minutes ago, you know, in your mind, when I get on this bike, especially the Nord 901, it's so big, wide, and heavy. It intimidates me. This a little narrower, but it's still a bigger, heavier bike. And once I sit there and in my head thinking it's bigger, it's heavier, more off-road, I want to be back on this because this gives me so much more confidence off-road. So to me, it's not even close because this just builds my confidence. You're taller, you're stronger, more experience, and you can handle that better. But watching you, how much faster you were on this, it was incredible.
Yeah. We've had a great day of riding.
We have.
we got a little bit more to do. We're gonna finish up this trail here, off-road segment, get back down into the canyon, and head back down to Lyons. Again, thanks to Colorado Motorcycle Adventures for getting us this 890 to ride and review.
Yep.
Much appreciated, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.